Hello, and welcome to episode 58, 5-8 of the Movie Bros podcast. We are your hosts. As always, I'm Duncan, he's Hayden. Salutations, everyone.
Guten Tag, everyone. We're nearly at retirement age here.
If you are new, this is a weekly podcast of two brothers who pick a movie, watch that movie, discuss, ramble, banter, argue, all the things you can think of. If you're not new, you have now probably heard this quite a number of times, but we do appreciate you listening. And I feel like we should maybe add this into our first little intro of buzzwordy things of saying thank you for listening. Because no, this we're not trying to be this huge like thing, but like it's nice to know that at least some people actually listen to this beyond just us, which is kind of a cool thing. So thanks for that. You can find this podcast if you're listening on Spotify. Great. If you're listening on YouTube, that's great too. If you want to reach out to us via those platforms, sure. You can also find the podcast on Instagram at @themovie_bros. That, I believe, is all of our housekeeping things that we need to cover. Hayden, what are we talking about this week?
So, this is one of those times where it might be a more looser, more breezy kind of episode. So, we're going to be talking about Sinners, the first movie here. This was released literally this year, written and directed by Ryan Coogler, who has done things like Fruitville Station, Black Panther, and I want to say one of the Creed movies, maybe two of them. He's for certain done one of them. I'm not really into boxing, so I didn't watch them. Music here is both incredible, but also by Ludwig Göransson. Does a lot of stuff with Ryan Coogler. He also did the music for both Black Panthers, The Mandalorian, and I want to say he also did Oppenheimer. Cinematography here is by Autumn Durald Arkapaw. Is not a name I recognize, but clearly this put them on the map, even if they weren't a big name, because it looks incredible. This stars Michael B. Jordan, Miles Caton.
No, that's Michael A. Jordan and Michael B. Jordan.
I wanted to make that joke and be like, I don't want to confuse people. So it stars Michael A. Jordan, Michael B. Jordan, Miles Caton, Jack O'Connell, Haley Steinfeld, Adrienne Ward Hammond, Tanaj L. Jackson, Jamie Lawson, Omar Benson Miller, and Wunmi Masaku. And that's all I have for information about this.
Well, where do you want to start? And again, we should preface this. I think you kind of referenced it, but Hayden and I don't really have a ton of like actual written notes, which is what we normally do, because sometimes we actually are in the same space. So we watch the movie together, but we don't actually take notes when we do that. We're just kind of watching the movie to enjoy it. So we'll see. But
yeah, that's kind of what happened here. Stars aligned, as it were. We were both at the same place of the same TV, so I'm like, you know what? Let's watch some things to get them out of the way. Not that we weren't looking forward to watching this, because we were. So we don't have notes, but and also I should also preface this that this was like a week ago, because the schedules are changing with personal life stuff happening. Our memories might be a little bit soft here, but I think there's certainly enough impressive things happening here that we will remember a lot of it. Which, okay, I've danced it around a couple times now. Why don't we start with some ratings here?
Okay.
This for me is a very incredibly solid 4 out of 5. Really, really enjoyed it.
Yeah, and I would say I'm probably right around either 4 or maybe a 4.5 out of 5. And that's with an asterisk because, and we'll talk about this a little later, but I'm not a huge like gore, horror, scary movie. Like that's just not really my genre.
Sure.
And I know later on you're going to say this is where you probably lost some stars for it, but
I was going to say, I mean, I think I have similar reasoning, but like in the opposite direction.
I know, but this movie is, I think that it is both a vampire movie and not a vampire movie, and which I think the vampire stuff was done well enough that like, and the movie itself was interesting enough, both story and like the technical side of it was, amazing.
I mean, there are several moments where I paused it just to be like, oh wow, that's fucking cool.
Yes, exactly. So, like, that's how good this is because it's again, as someone who really is not a fan of, like, that kinda genre, I really like this.
And then on the opposite side of that, as someone who really likes horror genre, I also really, really like this. My only, docking of a star here is that we literally like this is like a 2-hour movie. I don't remember putting down the runtime. I think it's like a 2-hour
No,
movie, right?
it's, like, right at 2 hours, if I remember right.
We are 120 minutes into the or no, no, no. We are an
You are
hour.
60 minutes.
No, no, no. I remember I paused it while we were watching. We are an hour and a half into the
There's
movie
no way,
before
dude.
I remember.
I was pretty sure that it was, like, halfway through the movie, and that's when, like,
Well,
vampire stuff even started.
and that's kind of what I'm getting. I mean, regardless of the timestamp, it feels like it takes a really long time for this vampire movie to shift into gear where we actually get vampires. And that's cool. That's fine. There's a lot of really interesting stuff. And a common complaint that I have about horror movies a lot is that it doesn't take the time to set up its characters so that the audience cares about whether or not they survive. So that's fine that
This
this
the
absolutely lays its groundwork
Yes.
for that. On the other hand, though, like I kind of want to have my cake and eat it too. It's like I want more vampires because the vampires are so cool in this.
Well, that's why I mean, they're all fan edits, but I've seen people who are like, "Oh, like, this could be just the first one that they do of this."
I would love that, but I know they're not going to.
I know, but I'm like, yes, I could see that. I too am glad that they because again, as someone who doesn't like the generally the genre because they just jump right in. There's not a whole lot of actual like plot or story or character development. Where again, yeah,
Sure,
exactly what you're saying is you don't really give a shit about these people. Yeah, they spent a good hour, more or less, between the brothers, between like the baby mamas, the
because you got
love
to get into
interests.
Preacher Boy and Cornbread
Yeah.
and Smoke and Stack and Haley Steinfeld being really hot. Like there was a whole lot of stuff we need to get to.
So yeah, no,
I
I'm glad. I think honestly, I think it was the right amount of both.
I guess in my perfect world I would want more horror elements, but I think that might just be a personal like thing of mine. As it stands, the movie is really really great. Like I would recommend this to people.
Yeah, and I would feel okay recommending this to someone who's like, oh, I don't really love like super scary movies. I'm like,
That's
I
true.
think I think you'd still actually get something out of it, kind of thing.
I mean, granted, I watch a lot of horror movies, so maybe the scary factor of this didn't really quote unquote phase me. Was this ever like scary to you?
I mean, there's a couple little like I would say like tense bits that were like pretty gnarly, but no, not like scary, scary. I mean, some of the remix little jumps where he's like Sammy.
That's a great bit.
Yes, no, yeah, those kind of things where I was like, ooh, I tensed up when that happened. So I don't know if I like terrified or
Oh no,
anything
no,
like
that's
that.
fine. That's fine. I mean, I really so until like Remick and his whole thing is out in the open. The brief scenes you do get with him, they do this very cool, subtle eye shine thing
Mm-hmm.
where they have an extra glow on their pupils.
They did the same thing or similar thing in Midnight Mass.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, very
Which
cool.
again, if you want an
That
actual
holy
like whole
shit, dude. That
like
terrified me.
I mean, and even as someone who watches a lot of horror, if you want like a absolutely fantastic slow burn Halloween series to watch, go into Midnight Mass without reading anything about it. It's amazing.
Yeah, I would say when we usually talk at the end of these, like, oh, if you like this, what would you recommend? That's what I would probably say, at least for the vampire side of it.
Well, see,
I don't know if the
I
like
I would say if you like Sinners and you want something of the same like flavor but maybe a little bit more fun, you should definitely watch the original From Dusk Till Dawn because it is in a lot of ways a very very similar movie. There's music elements and there's a lot of similarities there, but one's from the 90s when Tarantino was still kind of finding his style, so it's a little all over the place, but it is still very fun.
now that we've kind of talked ratings and slightly some other things, should we just kind of get into just general thoughts? Okay. I I almost wish that the end credit scene
I was
was just
thinking the
part of the
same
movie.
thing. I was thinking the same thing. Like, that to me is the ending scene. It works so much better
Yes.
just
Yes. No,
completely
I
on the
100%
end.
agreed. Mhm.
Because not that the whole, like, full circle of Preacher Boy choosing guitar over God isn't a nice callback to the start, because, it starts
Yes.
at the end, sort of. But, like,
Sort of.
that's such a nice wraparound to his story if you see him as an old man at the end.
Well, like, you see him at his club at the very end, but you don't actually have the conversation with Michael A. Jordan and Haley Steinfeld in the 90s, which also both of their outfits in the 90s, yes, I know, like, they're so fire, dude. I'm such a
Sure.
fan. I was a big, big fan. Granted, I could never wear that because 'cause I'm so very white, but, like,
I mean, you
God, dude,
could.
it's not the same thing.
You d Okay. There's a lot of one-shot takes in this, which are
Mhm.
just amazing, especially when you think of all of the, like, actual, like, all the, like, the actual crowds then, because, like, there is some CG in this, but for the most part, a lot of it is done practically.
Mhm.
Like, there's a bit where they have to go to the supermarket. I can't remember what they're buying. No, no, no. They're paying for a sign, and
Yes.
so you have to follow, because it's a husband and wife working on two different sides of the road.
The street, yes.
One's the whites only side, and one's the black side. And so you follow the wife walking from the quote unquote colored side over to the white side, and you can just see the differences in the crowd and all of the different, like, naturalistic ways people are moving. Like, this must have been so difficult to shoot.
And I know we both sent it to each other, one of us sent it, I can't remember, but, like, just thinking about all the parts in this movie where, again, there is only one Michael B. Jordan.
And
So
that is, like, even if it, yes, that
so
is
cool.
obvious as you're watching it, you forget that, like, nearly
Uh-huh. No,
instantly, because it
100%.
is so seamless. Because he's playing, obviously, both Smoke and Stack,
Mhm.
and there are subtle differences between the two, but thankfully they are wearing different colors
What else? The music, I mean, this whole movie in a lot of ways is about music,
to a certain
uh,
degree.
but but the actual dude, there's a couple songs that I've saved that I just keep listening to because 'cause they're so
Oh yeah.
fucking good.
Well,
Which I know you maybe had an issue with this, but the bit where they're blending, dude, I thought that was it's so creative,
I've
so
gone
unique.
back and forth. What the fuck can I say that for?
Fourth,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I have gone back and forth on that in my head for like a week straight of whether or not I like that or not. Because, like, I
so
get the
cool, so
idea that
cool.
they're saying, like, oh, it's we're connecting generations through, like, musical history, and that's super cool. I absolutely love that concept. It just, the minute where we're connecting blues music to women twerking, I get that there is a literal through line to that. I fully understand that, but that takes me out of the scene. That's my only issue with that. I do think that's a very cool idea though, and especially the way that they, like, sort of, I mean, they literally burn the roof off the building with this, and, like, the camera, like, cranes up and you can see the whole scene. That's very, very cool. And then you cut immediately and you can see Remick, Jack O'Connell,
Mhm.
um, implying that he is also the same way with his music because he can now see this scene, which obviously they're not actually burning down the dance hall. It's all like an imagined thing, but, like, it's interesting that from his perspective, he can still see that. I do think it's funny that we're talking about Jack O'Connell again, when maybe not last week, or I think it was like the week before, when I was mentioning him showing up in 28 Years Later as the weird, like, Scottish tracksuit cult guy. Completely 1,000% redeems himself in this. He is so good.
He's so good in this.
Like, he's both menacing, but he's really likable in a really creepy way. And he's got, he owns this role so well. It's so good.
And the whole Irish jig, well, all of his, like, followers are just around him.
I mean, I so, little bit of lore here. I really love Irish folk music. I will listen to it
Mhm.
just, like, all the year round, regardless if it's like St. Patty's Day or not. I really like listening to Irish traditional music. So I'm like, oh hey, I know what that song is. It's this, this, and this. I know of like these 4 different versions, which absolutely slap. I'm gonna add it as this one being number 5. They do a version of Rocky Road to Dublin,
Yep.
is so good.
I always recognize that song because it's like the main opening song in The Departed or The
Oh, that's
Departed.
true. Yeah, it is very cool here. And then I mean, I even like that little like Robin song they sing when they're trying to like lie their
Oh,
way
little
into the.
pick or little Robin Clean,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's fun.
which I mean, it is. But if you actually listen to
Oh,
like if
I'm
you
sure it's incredibly racist.
no, it's basically um like they are cleaning, like they are eating the robin down to the bones kind of thing. So it's like subtly menacing when they play it. I don't know. I thought it was a cool little like, oh, I don't know if they're like noticing like, yeah, they sound nice, but like they're literally talking about like, oh,
That
like
is an interesting
we're gonna fucking
idea.
eat you.
I like that, you know, in the same recency that we both watched Nosferatu as well. I like that this vampire in Remick really goes out of his way to be like not just menacing, but like he absolutely tries to convince these people. Like,
Hmm.
oh, you know, I'm not here to eat you. We're here to be all togetherness. We're here to be equal. If you become, you know, part of my vampire horde, we're all equal and yada yada yada. Like, and you can definitely see like on a few of them, like he is convincing them even a little bit. I think
Hmm.
it's a good idea to have him be more than just scary. He needs to be a little bit more multi-layered.
And I like the subtle little bits where just in the background, it was only a few scenes where he would just kind of like, oh, you can see that he can kind of either float and or fly, but they didn't just show the whole thing to have it happening.
Oh, I mean, there's the really freaky scene where you got Preacher Boy trying to run away at the very end, and then he just like freaking like 50s era Superman jumps into the air and like floats down on him, kind of like
Yes.
posing like
Oh, and then
Jesus. Oh,
when he like
creepy.
he's like looks like a normal person, and then at the end when he's with Preacher Boy, and they show like he's holding his head where he gets those scars across his face, and his hands like
Oh, yeah,
the
yeah, yeah,
his
yeah.
fingers are all fucked. Oh, it's super cool. Like scary, but super cool.
Like, and that's what I want more of. Like, I don't know. I guess it would be like it would make the movie like 2.5 hours, and that's completely unrealistic. And then at that point, we'd be complaining it would be too long. We're just like, I want more of that. That's so cool. What else do you think? Because I don't want to ramble here the whole time.
No, you're good. Let's see.
So, what's something that you didn't like? Because I know that we have lots of things we can point to that we enjoyed. What's something that you actually didn't like?
I mean, I don't know. I can't think of anything that's like jumping out that's clearly. Oh, I mean, besides the whole like the end credit scene just should have been in the movie. I mean, I'm kind of blanking, dude. I'll be honest.
Um, I didn't love the KKK member ending.
Yeah, okay, I
I
can
mean, like I
kind of get
get it. It's
that.
a fun payoff, and you know, you get to see the scene
Oh,
that they show in every single one of the trailers of him shooting the Tommy gun. That's cool.
which was sick.
It was sick. It is very cool, and you get the, you know, you get to see Michael B. Jordan's. I can't remember if it's Smoke or Stack, but you get to see one of them, you know, kind of bleeding out and seeing his dead daughter and his now
Yeah, I like
deceased
that.
wife. Like that's a very nice ending, but it
And the whole like
almost
has to put out the cigarette so he's no longer smoke.
okay. See,
He's
that's which one it is. Yeah. I mean,
yeah,
I guess it works, but for me, I wanted it to end more on the horror note where, you know,
sure.
you got
Well, again,
Preacher
that's
Boy, he
why.
runs off, and but then you can then like slide immediately into flashing forward and seeing him, you know, as an old man talking to Michael B. Jordan and Haley Steinfeld. But
Sure,
we do
that's what.
need the
Again,
other scene too.
I don't think. I don't know if I'd. I mean, I'd call this. I don't know if I'd call this a vampire movie because
That's
it's.
my issue.
Well, no, that's I like that. I'm like it is. So it's a lot of movies I think do try to do too many things and try to incorporate too many genres and stuff to attract more of an audience. And
That's very
usually it
true.
just gets muddled and it's messy. And I think we've probably talked about that several times about movies, but
I think so. Yeah.
um, I don't know. I feel like this did it well enough to where like, oh, it's There's some like touches of like racist stuff. There's touches of, yeah, obviously vampire stuff. There's a big musical element. Like, uh, I don't know. I think I like it for that reason because A, it does it well, sure, but it doesn't try to do, oh, this is just a shoot 'em up like black guys fighting the KKK movie. Because I think
I
over,
mean,
2 hours, I'm like, okay, I get it. That's what
sure.
this is. But because this is multifaceted, and again, I only like it because it does all of those things well, and they actually do fit together. Like if it was a bunch of random shit that they're trying to throw together, which again, I don't know what movies, but I feel like we've talked about that with movies recently. But uh, yeah, I don't know. I feel like if it was vampires in like the first 10 minutes and it was still vampires the entire way through, I don't think I'd be as interested throughout. Like this kept my attention because, oh, it's it's more than just like, oh, look at them keeping away from the people with fangs. Ah,
That's true.
does that
That's
make
true.
sense?
No, I mean, I get it. I guess I'm like mentally wanting things that would actually make it worse, but I think that I want. I guess if that makes sense.
Sure. And there's so many movies where like, yeah, we don't know if the tweaks that we think about making to them would even actually make them better, or if like we think
That's
they would,
true.
but they actually
I
would
mean,
make it
clearly
worse. So
we
yeah,
have
but
so much
maybe
experience in making movies. You should listen to us,
yes,
Hollywood.
exactly. I mean, I will say that I don't, again, I can't think of any specific, but I feel like there's several movies that we've reviewed where like, yeah, we could have edited this better.
I mean, specifically, we did that when we were talking about Dead Reckoning Part One
Yes, it's just about where to cut the movie. Yes.
and Part Two, to be honest.
Also, yes. So, and if you're curious, folks, I think Final Reckoning was about, I don't know, like 7 or 8 episodes ago, and uh, Dead Reckoning was like 10 episodes ago. So if you're curious, I'd say check those out because again, the movies are good, but we had definitely some critiques that I think are
Definitely so.
valid.
But actually, back to Sinners, that reminds me of something that, as much as I do like to harp on the fact that it feels like it takes forever to get to the vampire stuff, this is chock full of really smart, time efficient exposition and backgrounds. Like it's saying just enough about everything to where you understand what's going on, you know who these characters are,
Hmm.
without being overly wordy and wanting to talk forever about things that don't matter. It's like, sure, I know who Smoke is. I know who Stack is. I know what their backstory is. They were in the mafia in Chicago. I know why they're not. I know why they're not in Chicago. I know who Preacher Boy is. I understand his relationship to his father. I know who Cornbread is, and yada 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 yada. But none of it ever feels like I'm being read a Wikipedia page. It clips through a lot in a very short amount of time, even though it isn't. I guess. I mean, I'm not sure how
No,
else to
I
say
know
that, but
exactly what you
like,
mean because again, I think back to Final Reckoning where it was so much exposition. And like I think the longest thing in this movie, and again, it didn't even feel that long, was when the when Smoke was talking to his I can't remember her name, but his baby mama in her shop. And I think that again was not that that was maybe 2 minutes, 5 minutes, something like that. Uh, yeah, I totally agree. Where it doesn't feel like anything was cut short, but it does feel like okay, let's give you exactly the information you need and nothing else.
yeah, yeah. I would say that if you're interested in watching this and you don't know a whole lot about it, you should know there is a lot of sex in this. Like
There is a good amount. Yeah,
more than I was expecting. And I knew going in that like Haley Steinfeld was going to have a dirty mouth in some scenes, but like I wasn't prepared with like just how much sex scene there was in this. So maybe keep that in mind if you want to watch this in mixed company.
true. I mean, I think I was okay because you and I watched this with my lady friend, and luckily she had seen it before. But yeah, I could see how like I think about it, man. If you went with like, oh, I'm gonna go with my parents to see this at the
I
movie
mean that
theater or
that was
something like that, I'm like,
well, because when this was in theaters, Dad asked, "Hey, do you want to go watch this with me?" And I'm like, "Maybe, but why don't we wait? Because I don't know if that's going to be super uncomfortable."
mm-hmm. Well, again, we showed this at my work, and there was definitely lots of people who came in. I was like, as a family, I'm like,
That's a
I don't
choice.
know if I would have done that. But, I mean, they don't know if they're gonna. There's a full on like. drool into mouth sex scene.
That isn't even the one that I'm talking. I mean, yes. I mean,
But yes,
there's the
there's
one about Preacher Boy finding his button,
yes. No,
and
again, that was just one example, but
yeah.
yes, there's multiple scenes. Well, you also have to think about back. You have to think about the back then times are a little more like there wasn't there's not a ton to do, and times are simple and like like
Oh,
do
you're
you know
trying
what I
to
mean?
fuck?
Like
Okay,
yeah, I mean we're not here to go on dates because we're slaves or
that's very true. But I would also counter that was that is when Christian Puritanism was really kicking into high gear. So while yes, you're right, there was also a huge move to let's be as godly as humanly possible, even to the point of ridiculousness.
well sure, but also this subgroup of people was like the dance with the devil, like
Sure,
drink.
I loved all the small like historical things that I mean obviously are true, but I just never would have thought about like, oh, they probably wouldn't have had like circulation money. They would have used plantation money. That becomes a big plot point. I'm like, oh, I never
Hmm.
would have thought of that, even though yes, that is true. And I love the idea that uh even someone who is, white in this, like Haley Steinfeld's character, like she's of mixed race, she also wouldn't have been accepted. So yeah, that makes sense, and I never wouldn't even have thought about it.
Yeah, again, smart writing, smart writing.
Very much so.
Well, I don't. I mean, I don't have anything written down, so I don't know if I have anything else in the tank for this. But
Let me
anything else you can think of?
quickly think. There are like two specific moments in this where I paused. I'm like, oh, that's fucking cool. I wish I could have seen this in theaters. And that's
Oh, the aspect ratio change.
yes, yes. So
Sick,
I can't even remember
sick.
what the scene was though. Like I don't
Oh, it was
remember
when
what
they
it was.
first let in the vampires.
Right. So there's a scene where they the humans have been pushed back to the bar and they're grabbing their weapons, and as they walk towards the door which on fire, the aspect ratio changes and it becomes full screen instead of being widescreen.
Yeah,
i
it's sick.
I fucking clapped in my seat. I'm like, that's the coolest shit I've seen in a hot minute. That is so smart and cool. I would have loved
Hmm.
to have seen that, especially on like an IMAX thing. That would be so cool. I can't remember what the other part was.
Oh, I don't remember.
Oh, it was they recreate the identity testing scene from The Thing with Garlic.
Oh, right.
And that was like, oh, that I would
Yes, I
have
like that.
that's super clever and makes a lot of sense. I would have never have thought to have done that with a vampire movie. Make everyone eat a clove of pickled garlic.
Well, it also like a lot of other vampire movies. They're not like so subtle about being vampires.
True.
Like you're not in that kind of situation of like being locked in and someone might be one, might not be kind of
hmm
thing.
I didn't understand why. Spoiler, towards the end, Preacher Boy takes his steel guitar, which is very cool. He takes his guitar and he smacks Remick in the face with it, and like the steel drum part of it that makes the resonance sticks in the side of his skull, and it starts
So
smoking and
cool.
thing. That is very cool. Why does that happen though? Because
What do you mean?
vampires don't have a thing with silver. That's werewolves.
Yeah, but I mean, it also would just hurt in general
Well, right, but it's like, it starts smoking and bubbling like it was like anointed or something. Oh, that's probably what it is. His
because it's his
father,
dad's who's yes,
yeah.
yes.
I legitimately did not put that together until now.
I mean, I didn't really think of it either, but yeah.
That's cool.
And I like that to a certain degree, like the vampires were connected.
Well, I mean, they very
Like
much were.
no, but like they were, but like it wasn't like
They weren't like a hive mind.
yeah, exactly. Like there was some like shared stuff, but it was still like oh, you could still have like each person was still had some individuality. So when they
hmm
each had an interaction with like a human, you could still have oh, you're interacting with that individual, not like the hive mind of Remick.
So, And then my question to you, and then I'll probably ask myself the same thing, is that let's say your lady friend, if we're not going to be mentioning her name at the moment, let's say your lady friend shows up at night at your apartment. She's like, "Hey, can you let me in? We need to talk about something." And she's clearly all vampired out. Are you folding like Michael B. Jordan does for Haley Steinfeld in this?
No, what the fuck? Well,
Because if
granted, I
Haley
feel
Steinfeld shows up at my doorstep and be like, "Hey, I'm clearly a vampire, but I'm also really attractive. Can you let me in?" I feel like I might do it.
mm, I don't know. See, the thing is, Michael B. Jordan at the time, she wasn't super clearly a vampire though. Like she
Well,
was totally normal. All she had was a little bit of drool, and that was only after they had started having
that's
sex.
true, and it wasn't him that lets her back inside. I wanna say it was, the older guy who they got, who
Yes,
they paid him
who
in
he's been in
essentially
lots and lots of
Guinness.
things. Yes, I would not let someone in if they were very clearly like a fucking vampire. I'd be like, nah, we can talk through the door.
Well, I mean, they go back and forth with Cornbread for that for a while.
Mm-hmm.
I love that this, like, I mean, speaking of Cornbread, he gets shot in the cheek after he's been vampirized, and then it just never heals the rest of the movie. I like that this doesn't have them like, Wolverine healing factor themselves. They
Mm-hmm.
look like corpses after a while, which I think is a great idea because we've had things like Van Helsing and other stuff like that. We're like, oh, you've cut me, I'll just instantly heal. I like that this one is a little bit more gross.
But not like so gross that it's unwatchable, kind of thing.
This isn't gore for the sake of gore because I have seen those movies and they are not my cup of tea either. I like it. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong. There is gore, there is graphic stuff. People do, have chunks bitten out of them, but I feel like it was just the right amount of blood and guts to where it felt believable, but it wasn't like ridiculous.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
Well, I'm about outworded of what I was going to think about for Sinners, and genuinely, I think we had a longer discussion than I thought we would.
Yeah, this
But
again, we could. Yeah,
does this bucket?
yeah, guitar.
That's kind of what I was thinking too, because there's not a whole lot of other like tangible item thing in this movie other than the steel guitar, and you could open the face of it up and you can fill it with pop.
So I think
But
this, with just being a
yeah,
guitar, I think that's fine. Not
yeah,
every movie has to be this, like,
no, that's true.
I don't know. Well, that I think was Sinners. You can find Sinners on HBO Max, and like Hayden said, check out From Dusk Till Dawn. You might also want to check out Midnight Mass if you're looking for some spooky.
Yeah,
I mean, Halloween is just around the
I was gonna
corner at
say,
this point, and we're only a couple months away.
if you enjoyed Sinners and you want to watch Midnight Mass, absolutely go in with the knowledge that it is actually very scary. Like
Yes.
Sinners is fun scary. Midnight Mass is slow burn dread in every episode for like an entire season straight.
Yeah, and then the last episode is like, oh, just terrifying the whole time.
Yes,
Cool.
so like keep that in mind.
And that was Does It Bucket? And like we said, that was Sinners on HBO Max. From there, folks, we usually jump to what we watched or slash what we want to watch, or if there's any trailers or any movie news or anything like that. All that kind of stuff is this segment or this chapter of the podcast. Hayden, what have you watched or going to watch or anything like that? I feel like you've got a big one, obviously, that we want to cover for
So
sure.
I do, but I don't want to take up the entire segment. So actually, why don't you go first?
Okay. Okay.
Because yes, I have some thoughts about James Gunn's Superman, but I don't want to take up the whole time.
And now that you've had these kind of visceral thoughts, I do now want to see it because I want to have that conversation with you is the thing, which is a bummer. Okay,
I mean,
so
it'll be
let's
streaming
see.
soon, I'm sure.
I don't know. I think let's see. Either way. Um, I have seen, let's see, I saw Bullet, the 1968
Classic.
classic with Steve McQueen, and the actual movie, like, yeah, there's some good bits, but what it's known for is like one of the best chase scenes in cinema history. And
Yep.
I mean, it's fucking awesome. Especially when you think of, okay, this is like most likely actually Steve McQueen doing it because he was actually a race car driver. He did a lot of his own stunts, and Like, this is San Francisco with the crazy hills, and they absolutely like it's him driving this Mustang, and he absolutely rips this thing around. Like, it's fucking awesome. From there, I watched Be Cool, which is the sequel to Get Shorty, but 10 years later. So it's 1995 and then 2005. It's not good. It's I don't know. It was okay. It's not horrible, and there are some fun bits in it, like uh Vince Vaughn is like a wannabe pimp. The Rock is a wannabe actor who's gay. Like, there are some
Hey,
fun
that could still
bits.
be true.
Anyway, but it's definitely I don't know. It's missing something. From there, I watched a very indie movie. Like, Letterbox even had a hard time finding it for me to log. It's called Phoenix, Oregon, which is, I mean, it's Phoenix, Oregon is an actual place,
So
but
you're
it's
doing it
a
again.
what?
Say the name again.
Phoenix, Oregon.
You're saying organ like church organ.
That's just how I talk, Hayden. Oregon, Oregon,
Thank you.
Oregon. Whatever. Fuck off. I mean, the music in it was actually really fun. But it's because it is so indie. I couldn't even find the music. The only place I could find the music was on like bandstand.com to listen to, which was kind of a bummer.
Oh, bandstand?
Uh,
Yeah, yeah. Some of the local bands I go to see live out in Ballard will have their stuff available through them.
yeah, it's a little bit more. It's not. They're like the guy who did the music for it, which again, it was beautiful music, is not even on Spotify at all.
Hmm.
Uh, it's about two friends who they're now in their like late 30s, early 40s, work in a restaurant. They're like, you know what? We never followed our dreams. Let's buy back this bowling alley that's in town and turn it into like a nice bowling alley. And the one guy makes pizzas, and it's just like it's. I think it's just I connected to it really well because I'm like, oh man, I haven't followed dreams yet, and I'm working in a restaurant, and I
Hmm.
want to be a business owner.
Sure.
Uh, but then like the last 20 minutes, it's just they did not land the third act well at all,
I
which is kind of a
hate that
bummer, I'll be
shit.
honest. Because again, like the first two acts were fucking great. Oh, and in it is I couldn't figure out where I knew her from, but the like semi love interest or whatever you want to call it, the main doctor in House, the TV show that was like romantic
Hugh
with
Laurie? Oh,
Hugh Laurie, the
um,
woman.
I can't think of her actress name, but yeah.
Yes, that she's just in this, and and the main guy in this, like if you look at his IMDb, he's also been in a ton of things, but he's been like the third or fourth guy kind of thing. He's never been
Sure.
the guy. Either way, I would actually say if you can't, I mean, it was another to be find, which for me I've been finding is kind of a like toss up. It might be a lot of fun. Sometimes it's terrible.
I've
Uh,
I've found several horror movies through Tubi that like otherwise I would have never heard of, and I like finding
hmm
indie stuff that way just because I don't know. I like the essentially if you want to find something that isn't like super well licensed or well
Sure,
budgeted,
super
but want to
mainstream. Yes.
yeah, I like that.
But that's kind of all I've watched. Again, with like Hayden said, like life, both
Sure.
like work and personal stuff, and going back to school, and just all the stuff is trying to figure out timing to fit in movies can be tough. So either way, Hayden, what did you watch? Let's talk about it. Let's do it.
All right. So I went out to theaters. I paid real money for this, and I went and saw James Gunn's Superman. And I didn't like it. And I
Let's
know
talk.
that
Hold on. Let's talk the good. Let's talk the good.
is this the comedy bit where we just have silence and then we go into the actual review?
No,
Uh,
like was
I'm
the
joking. I'm
music
joking.
good?
So
Was like the effects good?
no. So I nothing was like horrendously bad, but nothing was like great. I guess is if you take nothing else away from my opinions of this movie, it was just okay. I think I will say it is well casted. David
Yeah.
Cornsweet is great. I
A lot
think
of
will
people I know have been saying he gives off Brendan Fraser energy, which I'm like, oh, that's
oh
kind of fun. I like that.
1,000,000% yes.
In interviews, I could see where like, oh, he could be the next mummy guy.
Well, fun fact: Brendan Fraser was almost Superman
I know, I've seen the pictures.
in a J.J. Abrams backed project that went
Mm-hmm.
nowhere, which it could
Yep.
have been fun. Shudder to think what a J.J. Abrams Superman movie would have looked like, but could have been fun. Regardless, though, he's great. Rachel Brosnahan makes a fantastic Lois, and they have
Really?
pretty good chemistry. Well,
Okay.
I say this with the admittedly limited understanding of comic book Lois. She's
Sure.
definitely a tenacious reporter in this, and that's kind of her whole thing. So
That's
maybe
good.
there's more to the character that I don't know of, but that she pulls off that aspect very well, and they have pretty good chemistry.
Lex, because again, I feel like I was mainly looking forward to Lex Luthor.
I didn't love this version of Lex Luthor, I'll be honest. I think
Really?
that and it's not a fault of Nicholas Holt because he's definitely he is chewing scenery, he is putting in his best, he is hating to his max potential. But so much of Lex Luthor in this movie to me feels surface level in a way which everything in this movie feels surface level, and that's let's just get into my fucking feelings. All right, so to get it out of the way, I am, and I would group Duncan in this as well, but I don't want to speak on his behalf. I really enjoyed Man of Steel. And I know that some people who like the new James Gunn version of Superman hear that sentence and say, "Oh, well, you're just a Snyder bro. I can discount every single thing you have to say." You know what? Fuck it. Fine. But it is both completely understandable and impossible not to compare it to Man of Steel in some capacity, even if you're not doing it intentionally.
Sure.
And there are things that Man of Steel did better than the James Gunn Superman. I will say though, I 100% understand the criticisms, especially when we get into things like BVS and the Snyder Cut, where people look at that and go, "Oh, you swung way too far into the side of gritty and edgy and dark, and that's not what this character is." And I fully understand that, but I think this is swinging the pendulum way too far the other direction, and we've now gone into this is a movie for toddlers. Like there were moments in this movie where I felt like I was watching Thor Love and Thunder. Like it was that
Oof.
cheesy and that goofy and silly. Like, and that's not even an exaggeration. Like it was that unabashedly stupid, like on its face on purpose. It wasn't like, oh, this is stupid in like a clever, funny way where it reveals something about the character. No, it was just dumb. And I brought this up to you off air, but one of the most emblematic ways that this shows it is like Lex kidnaps Crypto, the super dog, which I fully understand. That is a comic actor character. Is it dumb? Yes, it is. But regardless, Crypto is in this. He gets captured. How does Lex capture him? He puts VR goggles on a dog that convince the dog he is chasing super squirrels. We are then shown this on a monitor to
Yeah.
see what the dog is seeing, and all of the squirrels have little Superman outfits complete with red capes on. It was that level of silliness for like the whole runtime. It felt like I was watching a Superman parody at points because of this. Other big issue I had is that it wants to move on too quickly from everything. Like there is no moment that has any weight or gravitas or like any bit of lasting emotion in it because it wants to keep moving on to the next thing as quickly as possible. Like there's a potentially really touching moment where he's talking to Pa Kent, his human dad, and he's having this conversation on the porch because he's like, "Oh, I'm not who I thought I was. I was sent here for purposes I don't understand." And then his dad's like, "Oh, your actions have always spoken louder than what your intentions may have been. I've never been more proud of you." And then that scene is over in under 5 minutes. And I hate to say it, that is something that the Snyder version did better. We explored Clark's relationships to everyone around him more than this does.
Very much. Even though I haven't seen it, I mean, that whole first movie, there's no other superheroes. It is a true
Oh
origin
yeah.
story.
Well, trust me, I was going to get to quote unquote the Justice Gang, and that is what they call themselves in the movie. I mean, granted, Mr.
Hmm.
Terrific is like, no, that's a dumb name. I don't want to be lumped into that. Both Hawk Girl and Green Lantern would be like, oh no, dude, we're the Justice Gang. That's so cool. It's just like, was this like workshop to like to appeal to TikTok generation or something? Who is that joke for?
Well, see, I think looking at the Justice Gang, those are the knockoff Justice League, like the true
Essentially,
like core. Well, no, just like the true core members would not want to be part of that. That's why I think Mr. Terrific is probably the better choice there, because Guy Gardner is not the Green
no.
Lantern.
I mean, even in
Like,
the comics, Guy Gardner is no one's favorite Lantern, and to be fair, he is accurately written in this to be a
kind
talkative,
of a dick.
loudmouth kind of a dick, and that's fine. But like, I don't know that this movie needs it, and that's the other issue: is that Superman oftentimes in his movie feels like a secondary character in his own story because there are so many
Sure.
other side characters that we have to follow instead. Like this gets sidetracked talking about Green Lantern, talking about Metamorpho. It gets
Hmm.
sidetracked talking about Hawk Girl, even though she has maybe less than a paragraph of dialogue in the entire movie. It gets sidetracked talking about Mr. Terrific. Like they have a whole scene where he goes off and he, you know, fights this camp of Lex Luthor super soldiers essentially with these little spinning globes, and it's very James Gunn where he pipes in a pop song.
Sure.
Like, why isn't Superman doing this? Why is a Superman movie about everyone else besides Superman?
Well, again, I think that was maybe our worry at the very beginning before this even came
Yes,
out was, oh,
100%.
he's I think he's good at making ensemble cast movies, but
Yep. I mean that's a concern we have expressed since we knew he was directing it, and anytime we brought up this movie in previous episodes, we were like, hey, I hope this specific thing doesn't happen. Guess what? It happened.
yeah,
And then, so you mentioned the music. The music is not bad. It is literally just a rehash of the John Williams theme, and that is both good because the John Williams theme for Superman
sure.
78 is iconic. It's beautiful,
Hmm.
but also like it's reminiscent of Superman from 1978. Again, part of the thing that I liked that Man of Steel did is that they brought in the likes of Hans Zimmer and be like, "Hey, we're trying to make a new Superman for a new millennium. Give us a new theme." And brought up, at least in my opinion, one of the most beautiful scores ever written. I think the Man of Steel music is amazing. And the
Yes,
only
agreed.
thing that I feel about the music in James Gunn Superman is that, oh, this is reminiscent of John Williams, but if you just played it on electric guitar. That's pretty much it. And I felt like if you're gonna relaunch the DCU, it needs to be with something a little bit more with more of its own unique identity because it feels like it's trying to be the John Williams score when this is the rest of the movie. It's clearly its own thing. I felt like that was a mistake. And then the thing that I was the most let down by was Lex Luthor because I had such high hopes because I really like Nicholas Hoult as an actor. And I think if you look back at things like the three Guardians of the Galaxy movies, James Gunn can write a good villain. Like if he really puts his mind to it, he can write a good layered, interesting villain. And that just wasn't Lex for me. Like Lex is whiny. He literally cries about how much he hates Superman. He is really one note. He just yells and screams and jumps around pretty much one specific office for the entire movie. And he does have one line where he's like, "Oh, I don't hate you because you're an alien. I hate you because you are better than every single human being to ever exist and will ever exist, and your entire existence defeats the point of all human achievement," which is an interesting idea to explore, but the movie doesn't explore it. It's like that one line of dialogue is the only time when it's expressed. It's never delved into at all. It's never like examined at all. And while I genuinely hate the Jesse Eisenberg version of Lex Luthor, at least he
Mm,
had an interesting like reason for doing what he did. He had like a
yes.
more like nuanced and layered reason for why he hated both Superman and Batman. In this, he just hates him because Superman exists, and that's all the reason he wants. It just I feel like if you cut some of this stuff out and let more scenes in this breathe and have their own life, it would have been so much more impactful and like didn't feel like I was running through this movie at breakneck speed. And then the other issue I have is that Superman does not win any of his own fights pretty much the entire movie. Like he needs help to finish all of his fights and defeat all of his bad guys every single time. He's not able to save his Superman robots. He can't defeat the Hammer of Baravia, the big kaiju thing you see in the trailer. He needs help from Green Lantern and Hawkgirl to defeat, and they end up killing it instead. He can't defeat Metamorpho. He basically has to like plead and beg. And even Lex at the very end is beat up by the dog. I fully understand the idea that we want Superman to be human. He needs to have failings. He needs to want to struggle to overcome his opponents. But in that equation, you do need to show him overcoming his opponents. And I feel like that doesn't happen. It's super disappointing. And then the last thing I'll say as like the big meta question, if you will, is this movie worth throwing away everything that came before it? Because in a large sense, things like Aquaman, things like the Harley Quinn movies, things like the Flash, whether I mean, even if the Flash was garbage, things like the Flash, things obviously Henry Cavill, we're never going to get any more of those characters because we had to scrap it to make this movie. And I think with that perspective, I think that's a bad trade. And I'm done
I
off my
see both.
soapbox.
I see both sides of like I yeah, maybe you swung too far the other direction, but I mean, the ending of that DCEU was absolute chaotic mess, terrible.
True.
Like I think they had to kind of clean the slate and start over. But yes, I see like there were some good parts of it, and I think I actually was thinking about this earlier today, but it's like, man, some of those movies are fucking awesome. Some of the trailers for those movies, like maybe some of the best trailers I've ever seen.
Oh,
But
it's like, I mean, the first Wonder Woman movie is incredible.
oh yeah, Wonder Woman. I mean, you and I really like Man of Steel. The whole phenomena of the Zack Snyder cut for
I
Justice
mean,
League
a moment in history, literally.
sounds super nerdy, but yes. But yes, I get both sides, and I think that's plenty long of talking about things we've seen. Hayden, is there anything trailer wise or anything like that coming up?
There is a found footage horror movie trailer I saw called Shelby Oaks, which is being done by a YouTuber called Chris Stuckman, who I'm a fan of, so I'd like to watch that. Um, Trailers. I
Or just like
mean,
things coming up that you're like, oh, I'm looking forward to seeing that.
well, there's been set photos released of the new Spider-Man movie, which look kind of interesting, but it is literally just Tom Holland in the suit, swinging around on a crane. But it's cool looking.
That looks cool, but I also to kind of piggyback off of some of your Superman thought of, he has now been Spider-Man the longest, and he has
Yes,
yet to have his own movie. Like Hulk and Punisher are going to be in this.
they still don't trust Tom Holland to be able to carry his own movie.
That's what I'm saying. I was like,
And he's made
dude, what are you
4 of
doing?
them, or this will be the 4th. It's just like,
Exactly.
at what point are we going to allow him to carry his own title? Because like, even if we're going back towards more of like a street level Spider-Man, which I think is the way to go, not everything needs to be cosmic.
Mm-hmm.
Why are we splitting it up between him and Hulk, and especially
Yes.
the John Bernthal version of Punisher does
Well,
not
I
fit
think.
the tone of Spider-Man at all. Like,
Well, I can
John
see
Bernthal
how
is super rated R.
I can exactly. I can, which I'm curious how they're gonna do that at all. But I can see how they're maybe trying to meld him into more street level with Punisher. Maybe, but I
Maybe.
would have probably said pick maybe Daredevil first.
Well, exactly, because you have him briefly show up in No Way Home.
Exactly. I mean, that's again whole separate conversation. The I probably won't see it, but some of the both like the trailer dropped and the trailer looked interesting enough, and the some of the posters are kind of cool. But I don't. Again, it's not really my thing. But him, which is like the Jordan Peele produced.
It looks
horror
interesting.
movie about the. It looks interesting, right?
I'm gonna wait a little bit more because I'm not. I like Jordan Peele a lot, but sometimes his movies don't hit for me as much as I want them to. So I'm gonna wait a little bit.
Well, again, this is produced, not directed by.
That's very true. Speaking of horror movies, though, Weapons comes out this weekend, which I am super psyched on, and I'm probably gonna watch.
Fair.
And I know pretty much nothing about it, and I want it to stay that way. So I am surprised about as many things as possible, and that's kind of my attitude for most movies at this point. Like, yes, show me the initial. If the initial trailer is any good, that will hook me in. But like, the more trailers they put out for pretty much anything, the more stuff they show, and it kind of ruins it.
I can generally agree with that. Yeah.
I did see the trailer for the Odyssey again before
I still
Superman.
haven't seen it.
I won't spoil it, but it doesn't wow me.
Well, keep in mind it's a super fucking early trailer, which I
Well,
don't know why they put one out so
and
early.
that's kind of my issue with it. Like, why would you create a trailer with so little working footage? Like, I get that I just finished
Hmm.
saying, hey, don't put a lot of footage of your movie into the trailer, but like, I they don't have enough to cut like a 2 minute trailer yet. I don't know why they did this. It's not that interesting of a trailer.
Well, it seemed to work for those ticket sales.
Which I mean, we talked about it I think a couple episodes ago. That's still
Yes.
fucking crazy.
Hmm.
So I'm gonna be watching Weapons this weekend, and then I'd still like to watch Fantastic Four because I've heard also very positive things about that.
Yeah, I would like to see it at some point. I don't know. I was going to see it at my work, but I just ran out of time before it left our theater because now we're showing Freakier Friday,
I was
which
about to say,
from what I've seen, so the trade off is okay. I think if you go there and you're like looking for really stupid, really low bar, stupid fun, sure, maybe go see that. But from what I saw when I was setting up the movie today, I was like, oh, this seemed like it just should have just gone to streaming and it's getting a release. But
hmm,
like when I went in at the end of the movie, like people were laughing, people were clapping. Like I don't know.
yeah, yeah.
So I believe I think I'm tapped. I'm done. Yeah, I feel like you could have just you should we. I'm thinking almost like I should go watch Superman, and we should just do it's because again, if you have that much to say, Hayden, like Jesus, we should have just talked about that.
Well, I
Um,
mean, we still can.
no, I don't really want to pay money for it.
I wouldn't tell you to pay money for it, but
Either way, that has been episode what is that 58 of the Movie Bros
58.
podcast. Again, we talked Sinners. Well, I think we had more to say again about Sinners than we thought we did.
It's true, we
Uh,
did.
which hey, I'm fine with that. You can find our next movie, which it might be Phoenician Scene, or it might be was a movie called High Rise, starring Tom Hiddleston. It is on Netflix. It is also technically now on Disney because it's a Hulu property, I believe. Either way, that might be our next movie. But if we're also, I mean, I think we used to say this early on, but like it's our podcast. We don't have to like there's no rules to this. Like, we can change our mind. Who gives a fuck?
True.
With that in mind, though, if you have like a suggestion, like, oh, maybe we should be watching something else, or maybe, oh, we really liked the little bit about Superman. Why don't you do a whole episode about that, or whatever it is? Like, we are very much open to suggestions, so please reach out if you feel so inclined. Uh, anything else, Hayden, before we close this out?
I think that's probably it.
Cool. Thanks for listening, and we will talk at you folks next week.